Hi guys, it's David here from Write On Resources, and today we're going to be having a look at the Level 2 Functional Skills Writing Assessment. So specifically today we're going to be looking at how to write a speech, how to plan and organise your ideas for the assessment. If you're also thinking about going on to do this at GCSE level, then it will also be helpful for you as well going forward. So what is a speech? This is a formal address where the speaker needs to vocalise his thoughts and opinions on a specific topic. Even though this is part of the writing exam, it should be something that you think about in terms of actually being performed or actually read out loud in front of an audience. The main features of a speech are things like starting with a polite greeting and introduction. You need to make sure that your audience knows who is talking to them and the main reasons that have brought you there to actually make the speech in the first place. Use techniques that engage the audience. So whenever we're talking about techniques, we're talking about DeForest techniques, so the kind of techniques that are really going to persuade or advise them to your way of thinking. If you're not too sure what we mean when we talk about DeForest techniques, then please check out our previous videos where we go into these in a bit more detail. Show an awareness and an understanding of your audience. So specifically with a speech, there are a few DeForest techniques that you might use more than others. For example, you might use a rhetorical question because that actually acknowledges the audience's existence and it gets them to think a little bit more about the questions you're posing to them. Express your ideas in a clear and coherent manner. So this kind of refers back to how we structure our writing. So whenever we're structuring our writing, we need to make sure that each paragraph has a very clear idea. We have one idea per paragraph and then it links throughout the rest of our writing. End the speech by thanking them for their time. So this should be part with the actual conclusion. You should thank them for their time and their patience listening to you throughout that time and give them an idea of what should happen now that they take on board the thoughts and feelings you've expressed. Look at the exam question below and identify the main focus of the question. So the question says, your school or college are thinking about having all lessons online. Write a speech where you express your opinions on this matter. So whenever you're faced with a typical writing question, you need to think about what are the main focuses, what's the main things that you really need to write about in your speech. So the main part of this is coming in the second line about online lessons. Now, it gives you the option here to express your opinions. So that means you can either argue for or against, or maybe a bit of both. Now, if you did go through education last year, you would have experienced some form of online lessons. So what I would advise you to do now is to spend some time, mind map your ideas, and come up with at least 3 strong arguments that help justify your opinion on this matter. Now these can be either for online lessons or against, it's really up to you, but the important thing is to be able to come up with these ideas in a quick way and that you're able to actually think these things through and think about the kind of techniques that you would be able to use in an exam style situation to help you actually write a decent response for this as well. Many learners struggle when actually coming to plan their response. So look at the guidance below. These should be used to help you plan your writing. So step 1. Think carefully about the topic and mind map your own views and experiences. Now this for me is very important. Planning is a crucial stage of the writing process and allowing yourself that time to get your mind to flow, think carefully about the topic in detail and really help flush out the very best ideas you can is a really important part of the process. Step 2. Identify your 3 strongest points on the topic. For the entirety of your writing, we want to aim to have about 5 paragraphs. So you're going to have an introduction, a conclusion, and 3 main paragraphs for your writing. And the final point, recall the techniques needed for persuasive writing. How can these be used to illustrate your points? So again, whenever I'm referring back to techniques, I mean the DeForest techniques. A helpful tip to help you remember these is just to get into the habit of writing them down the side of your page, and as you use each one, tick them off, and then that will be a good indication of if you've used enough techniques in your writing or whether you need to include more to help you get some additional marks. Look at the student response below to help you get started on your own writing. So the example says, last year was a time of difficulty, sadness and fear. COVID-19 had a huge impact on us as a society in general. Despite this, we were able to come together, support each other and make the most out of a bad situation. Education was greatly affected during this time. As a learner, I struggled, as did many more, to even attend regular online lessons. We all want to learn. Who doesn't? But having lessons online was miserable and monotonous for many learners, with only 30% of students being able to take part. So I ask you, should we have online lessons now that we are out of this pandemic? Something that I like about this response is that it ends with that rhetorical question. Now, with any rhetorical question, we're not really expecting a response from the audience, but it gives them that pause, that little bit of time just to think about the final word in that paragraph before we move on to our first and strongest point within our writing. Now, what I would advise you doing is to use this response, use the sample question that we looked at earlier to have a go at the writing yourself. If you'd like to actually get some feedback on this, please leave us a comment below and I'll be able to actually have it emailed over to me and give you some marks and some feedback on your writing. If you would like any extra help or support, then new videos will be added every single week. Alternatively, you can leave us a comment or you can subscribe to our partner channel, Bookworm Teaching, for more lessons and guidance on all things English. Thank you for listening, guys, and best of luck with all of your studying in the future.